The Flogcast may occasionally contain explicit content that makes it not safe for work or for minors. It also doesn't provide an excuse to use the same words on Bay 13. Normal big footy rules still apply.
Alright, so this is the Flogcast for round 22. Fyfie joined by Ant.
G'day, Fyfie, and have a great deal of non-sexual respect for you.
I was gonna fucking say that.
Oh shit. Penal.
Hi there.
Haduken.
Good evening.
You could have gone, I have sexual respect for you, but you could have went up me.
And returning for the first time in a long time, probably 15 or so weeks after his side got a win, Paddles.
Hey.
First time between wins.
But yeah, before we begin, tried to make an effort to get Paddles back. We started a bit earlier because this is episode number 50 if you include the 3 outtakes, including the Sue's interview. So yeah, 50 episodes.
One of the founding members in Pats.
Yep. The other one, Bender, might hopefully join us later. But because of that, we're going to begin with the top 5 memes and gags that originated on the Flogcasts that have kind of stuck around. So, number 5, Haduken.
Now, the Teach couldn't be with us tonight, so I'm going to have to fill in for his bandwagon. Get on the Norf bandwagon, then get off it, then get on it again, then get off it, then it falls over, and then it catches fire.
Then you kill Royals as well, man.
Number 4, Ant.
Well, this is a bit of a split one. I'm going to go mix up between Roy Lion and his folding dungeon and how Fyfie never seems to go any games.
Are you going this week, Fyfie?
Yes. Yeah, I had to think where it was. For
Any little asterisks on this one? Like, I won't go if KFC boy doesn't eat a bucket and Hampson plays, or...
No, this is St Kilda. I'll go to watch Reece Stanley spot it up.
It's the schoolgirls, man, isn't it? You're there for the schoolgirls.
Number 3, Penal.
Geelong's concerning youth. It is so concerning that in 5 years they'll probably be worse than Fitzroy and they'll have to fold. Hi, Roy Lamb.
Number 2 was, the very first time Tyler Durden came on, Wrangler, asked him if he was the Teach, and he was not able to convince us that he was not, so that has stuck.
He is a Teach.
You know the way...
Just ask Geisen.
Ultimately, we need to get him to cry, because you can hear that voice cracking sound that the original Teach had. That'll prove it one way or another. Right.
And number 1, Paddles.
Elias's.
You got to explain it. How did that come about, Pads?
Just a mispronunciation of the Flogcast and you brought it up.
Yeah, Ant made him say it 3 times because he's a prick.
That's pretty much it.
It nearly got missed on that, but we'll start with probably the match of the round, which was the Purple Puffs downing Hawthorn, and...
Oh, I thought Adelaide versus Richmond was the match of the round, but okay.
No, you're not getting away that easy.
It was a cracking game.
Yeah, it was. It was an impressive Fremantle game.
Fyfe cracked in, didn't he?
Yeah, he decided to hit Lewis, and he thought, they'll think he's staging if he goes down. But the match would be played well convinced.
It was interesting because the guy who will probably poll the most Brownlow votes for the year whacked the guy who will win the Brownlow this year.
What happened to Liam Shields?
Maybe no, I said Shields next year, but it's like Lewis is making such a good run.
Struggler was next year, man.
He's likely to win it.
Yeah, Dyson Heppel wasn't there, man. What are you talking about?
We got goo on all sides here.
That'll just be another Brownlow with an asterisk next to it if Heppel wins it.
I'll take all your asterisks.
But yeah, it's like Fyfe was mad about the Brownlow, which he thinks he should have, going to Lewis, who will win it, and then he just decided to hit him. So he will miss the next 2 weeks.
Charitable act from him, just to, he's looking after the AFL and the MRP there, isn't he, by whacking Lewis and getting himself suspended.
Brownlow.
I reckon he will poll at least
4 votes, you reckon?
20 votes this year.
20 votes is not going to get you the
Jordan
Brownlow,
Lewis.
Are
mate.
you suggesting he'll do a Luke Hodge Haduken?
Jordan Lewis, like, okay, he can play, I'll give you that, but no. Just no. Like, pick Cyril, for Christ's sake. Someone realistic. Jordan
Cyril's played 4 games for the year.
He'll still probably get more votes than Lewis.
Stop injury trolling.
Still Rioli, 3 votes,
Cyril's
yeah.
played 4 games for the year. He was named in 8, but he's only played 4.
Won't Sam Mitchell be getting it, Penal?
Nah, he already won one 2 years ago. So
Sam Bridesmaid Mitchell?
Anyway, we're getting a bit off track here because we need to
Mitchell's
focus
no
on the
Scott
fact
West.
that Hawthorn lost and
And Fremantle were entertaining.
Yes.
That's probably the more shocking element
exactly.
of this game.
Like Ross Lyon decided, oh, Walters is back, let's kick some goals, and all of a sudden Pavlich didn't look like he was washed up.
Pav kicked, what, 3?
5.
Oh, 5, okay.
I think Penal talked about Pav being washed up and how it was a factor in the fact that Hawks were going to win.
well, he wasn't playing on Sean Makers, so you can't hold that against me.
Imagine if he was.
I think Lake, who he was playing on, is probably just as washed out as Pavlich, unfortunately. Had a great year last year, but
Clearly not. He's a 5-goal worst player based on the
Well,
weekend.
just as well we got Rovat out of that pick, huh?
Peach thinks we won that trade.
We got Kobe
Teach
Stevens
thinks
as well.
North Melbourne's going to win the flag, so I think, I wouldn't be using Teach as your fullback here. Just saying.
Teach thought Geelong were going to finish 12th, although to be fair, they probably would be 12th if it went for those fucking umpires again.
Well, do we have anything else on Hawthorn Fremantle?
Sucked in Hawthorn. No, that's it pretty much.
Well, since you mentioned it, let's go to the umpires helping Geelong out again. Fuck, they're finding some new recruits, aren't they?
Well, I don't know. Like, is this a case of they were helping Geelong, or they were just fucking over Carlton for the lols? Because,
See,
let's
that
face
one's
it,
actually
that's
more...
fine.
That's plausible,
Yeah.
actually.
Yeah, I could actually I could fit that.
I was at this game and for the last quarter I was somehow near the Carlton cheer squad and they were absolutely melting at the umpires. It was absolutely hilarious.
You were
Yeah,
near the
but
Did you
Carlton
go?
cheer
Did you
squad.
say pads?
3
Yeah,
weeks in a row
okay.
now.
Yeah, Paddles went to 3 games in Melbourne this week.
Which games did you say, mate?
Carlton Geelong, obviously us against the scum, and Melbourne GWS.
But you played Collingwood. Oh, yeah. Won't worry about that. We'll get
Oh, we'll talk about the Lions game
yeah.
later, yeah.
But yeah, that was just bizarre. And I reckon maybe you're right on that. The umpires maybe umpired Carlton out of the game so that the supporters can feel that their list is better. It's only the umpires. that are
I
costing
actually
them.
reckon that the
3
umpires
weeks
just
in a
like a
row
good
now.
barbecue.
You reckon they pay the free kicks and show up on Monday with
That's
it?
some plugger-esque type
North
explanations.
and Carlton
Yeah.
now screwed
They
in
bring their
Geelong
own
games.
buns. They're
Geelong
ready.
every- It's happened 3 weeks in a row. North, Freo, and Carlton. So it's not a Carlton thing. It's clearly a Geelong thing. They want Geelong winning the flag this year so that,
But hang on.
I don't
hang
think
on.
any amount of
I
umpire
thought they
assistance is going to
wanted-
get Geelong near Hawthorn in a game
Yeah.
that matters, though.
The AFL wanted Sydney to win, don't they?
no, they want a Geelong Sydney grand final.
They won a
Why?
110-point
In
grand final.
So,
Yeah, because I can't, explain the rationale that goes into their decision making.
Hang on. Okay. Lay it on us, Penal. What's going on? Penal?
They've silenced him.
Oh,
He's too close.
No, Gillen's been reading Bay 13, and he's been watching the Geelong and Sydney supporters chug each other's goo for the last 2 years, which they've been doing ever since the 2012 grand
As
final.
opposed to Hawthorn supporters chugging their own goo.
And he wants to manufacture a grand final between those two teams so that they can finally stop the goo chugging and, get back to talking about footy and not...
Goo and Hawthorn tears. Anything else on that?
well, I have to say, just looking at the picture on the AFL website, who the hell is Cameron Guthrie, and is he one of the concerning youth?
yeah, he is actually. He's actually their next Liam Picken.
Really?
Yeah, he's a bit of a scragger. He's their go-to lockdown guy, like Ling but blonde.
He's getting his head ripped off by Mark Murphy in the picture. He can't be that good of a lockdown.
Well, yeah, I mean, actually, he does now have, unfortunately, that whole point of being punched in the guts by Mark Murphy and actually feeling it. That's got to be a bit embarrassing.
Did anyone catch Malthouse have a crack at Stevens in the press conference?
Yeah, apparently Stevens asked him a question about who Judd was playing on. Malthouse, did his little smart-ass answer of, they weren't even playing on each other, so I don't know what you're talking about, even though the stats said that they're on each other about half the game.
Doesn't he have a crack at Stevens every single time that he's there?
He did, and Stevens was having a little bit of a meltdown afterwards, going how unprofessional Malthouse was. It's just like...
And Stevens was saying, you wouldn't look me in the eye. I mean, what's Steve going to say?
Yeah,
Look at
like
me, look at
Malthouse is
me.
scared of Mark Stevens.
I reckon Melthouse is just like, I just trolled him again.
Yeah, anything else on Geelong Carlton? It was a reasonably entertaining game, and it was funny to watch Carlton lose and Geelong get there thanks to umpires, because Geelong supporters don't like it when you mention that.
I'm actually quite comfortable with Geelong winning, and are they second out right now? They are, aren't they?
They are, yes.
Yeah.
Nah, according to Teach, they're equal first.
We can't mention a Geelong game without the words kicking and heads.
Mm.
And the word fuck. There we are.
Get fucked.
Yeah.
Yeah, there were no kicking heads, no Stevie J. I heard his foot kicking.
It's because they were worried that Mark Murphy was going to punch him. It's pretty scary, man.
All right, we'll move on to Richmond versus Adelaide at Adelaide Oval, and
The real match of the round, this one.
The G train.
Toot.
rolling on.
Are you on the Tiki train now, Fyfe?
Not yet.
Tell us the truth.
No, not yet.
Is it building in that cold, dark heart of yours, these little bit of embers of black and yellow and black?
We'll see what happens after this week.
I think do you know what? And I reckon he's just getting a tiny little bit of dare to dream going on here. I think it's starting to happen.
Look, I'm still wary because Drew Petrie said no. So
it's a bit of the Shawshank Redemption. You still got the Morgan Freemans. Bob could break a man in here.
If Richmond end up finishing 9th, their 2014 season will essentially be summed up by playing that scene where he's tunneling through the shit, playing that scene on loop for 3 hours non-stop. See, that is their season. All tunneling through shit, no fucking redemption.
What position on the ladder are they, Fyfe?
we are now currently 9th.
Back in their ancestral home.
So wasn't this mathematically impossible?
It's realistically unlikely that we will finish there, regardless.
In 9th.
Correct. We could be 8th next week and then drop to 10th the week after.
Well,
Is that a way of just not saying the word
Who does
9th?
Adelaide play next week? They play North Melbourne. All right, no, we'll deal with this. Actually, yeah, we'll come to this later.
It's like how the Tides always take things back to, a resting position. Richmond always gravitates towards 9th.
I like the way he he avoided the word. It's like, casinos don't have the 13th floor. Towers in Richmond don't have the 9th floor.
But yes, what to make of the black cat? That's the interesting thing. Was that dooming us to 9th, the cat that was running around the Adelaide Oval?
Well, most people thought it was just dooming Adelaide. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's their
What's
cat.
this?
There was a cat ran on the ground.
Really?
Yeah, black cat.
So it was
Supposedly it's like a local cat that they all know lives in the stadium or something.
That's only in Adelaide, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
But,
did it hear the siren and tell them all the
It was
game was
after a
over?
goal. It was after a goal, Richmond goal, and it was running around the goal square in front of the crowd.
and then hanging around the Eddie Betts pocket.
Yes, the Eddie Betts pocket.
Dangerfield saw the cat and he grimaced.
Who would be the crazy cat lady on the Adelaide list?
Oh, Subaru.
Oh, on the Adelaide list.
Oh, the actual.
Yeah, so no, she's a
actual
crazy
player.
cat.
Probably Samson.
Or Van Burlo.
Or Sloan. He's got a bit of the wild hair thing going on there. Rory Sloan. He likes taking
Is anyone
pictures of himself.
crazy there?
There was a bit of fucking madness going on with the fucking goal reviewer. Maybe he was the crazy cat.
That was bizarre. And the worst part about that was that actually disadvantaged us because we coughed it up basically within a minute from a kick in, never cleared it. And they hadn't raised a whimper till that point. They were just plodding along. And then all of a sudden the fucking goal review muppet gave them a reason to start playing football, which nearly cost us in the end.
So did they award you a goal or something, did they?
No, they took a goal away from Adelaide that was paid a goal on the goal review evidence that was flimsy at best.
So there would have been less than a kick in it if they'd got that goal.
Correct. But
So
as I
maybe
said, they wouldn't have turned up if they hadn't have kicked that, if that had have been paid. But the slight actually fired them up because they still weren't really.
So you're saying it wasn't a point of Richmond playing well, it was Adelaide playing shit.
We were outplaying them, but they weren't really.
You really aren't on the ticket train, are you, man?
You're backtracking harder than I was last week.
No one will backtrack faster than that.
Yeah, there's no such thing as the Melbourne Tigers.
We're playing well.
They
but
folded.
They were folding under the pressure we were applying. They weren't really working through it or treading water. We should have blown them away by that point.
Yeah.
But that actually motivated them to push to get back into a game.
Because this ties into that new ad campaign. Have you guys seen that new Jeep ad campaign that they've got going with
Drive
Richmond
home
now?
proud.
Drive home proud.
Penal's referenced this a
Yeah.
few times, yeah.
I hadn't actually seen it until this week, and I was sitting there going, Richmond? Seriously, driving home proud? Okay, all right, good luck. And particularly
Maybe
Jack.
they could do
Essendon
like
supporters
a...
saying drive
Jack-
home proud.
Yeah, we win.
No, but the thing is that maybe they could do like a Romping Wins Cochin version of that. I bought a Jeep.
Oh.
You could say,
I bought
he
a
ran
Jeep
over my
and
dog
ran
with a
over dog.
Jeep.
Yeah.
He ran over my dog with a Jeep.
I was going to say, or
Jeep.
Jack with his my key drives to the train station and goes, drive to the station, proud.
We'll move on to, well, Essendon West Coast.
Yep.
Gee, there was a lot of meltdowns on the West Coast board over this one.
It was pretty funny to see West Coast come off worse with the umpires and just how much they hate that, considering the free kick differentials for them basically every year for the last 5 years is fucking huge.
I may have had a little bit of a giggle when that happened, watching that one. Just thinking, yes. Particularly that one right at the end there.
That
like 2
wasn't a
minutes
free
ago.
kick, but yeah.
No, it wasn't at all. You were totally ripped, West Coast. That's really bad. I'm really upset. So
But when you get the free kicks West Coast get, you can never get a moral victory ever.
No, pretty much. Not even
Unless
against...
Plugger followed West Coast, and then every victory would be
Dean Cox flapped his arms around. He did his best to try and get some free kicks and get West Coast over the line, but the umpires just didn't pay him. And we've been robbed enough times by West Coast over at Subiaco to... I don't feel sorry for him. So
Yeah. Every other club in the AFL goes, West Coast lost because of umpires. Yeah.
But then there's an asterisk to say, yeah, but Essendon won.
Yeah, but...
yeah, but it's cool. Like most people wouldn't like either of these teams, and neither get a moral win.
It's the negating the moral win, yeah. It's like they would have had the moral win because it was Essendon, but the fact that it's West Coast, they always get umpires, it's kind of negated, so it's just a result.
It's like
like
a
a draw.
lose, which is awesome.
Shuey still got like 17 ducking head high free kicks. So just him. But I don't know what the rest of them were doing. They were off their duck that day. Bad Chinese duck or something. They couldn't quite get it right.
Adam Simpson described it as a train wreck, I think he did.
Well, they're up by 34 points in the third, and then we kicked 8 goals.
They kicked one more for the game, I believe, after Cripps kicked 2 in a row.
Teacher's going to be listening back later going, fuck, a train reference that I wasn't on? fuck.
No, it was a very... I've got to admit, at halftime, for me, I was thinking, well, shit, we're throwing our season away again. But turned it around, played well. Essendon are playing finals this year.
Bomber's a great coach, isn't he? Throwing the league forward like
He
that.
is.
No, I have to say, you are
Excellent.
playing well, and right now...
Wait till he co-coaches with Herd, Penal.
No, Perth lost that game by 100 points.
I'm just waiting for the infractions to come in, and Asada throws away your seed.
Actually, I'm just curious now when you say Herd. Hang on. Sorry, I'm just Googling here because I can't remember the score off the top of my head. Last year, West Coast v Essendon.
Oh, no, that was drug-assisted, though.
Essendon won that by 7 points. So, you know.
What about the other game that season? See, Thompson has a 100% record against West Coast, whereas Herd only has 50% while coaching Essendon.
He's getting very shit-fighty.
Yeah.
The facts. What's fudge?
Herd will be fine. Bomber will probably still be there, to be honest. I don't know what capacity.
Co-coaching, as Robbo suggested?
I don't know about co-coaching per se. Robbo may have been a little bit blind drunk when he wrote that one.
I suppose blind drunk writing every article.
Yeah, and I mean, look, sometimes Robbo is crazy like a fox. He really gets those interesting insights. But in this instance, I think there will probably just be one coach, and it will be Herd, and Bomber will be around doing something. And I mean, look, it doesn't matter. As far as the rest of the bay is concerned, they were co-coaching anyway. Anytime something bad happened, that was Herd. Anytime it was good, it was Bomber. So what we'll do is we'll say, yeah, Herd's coaching, and Bomber's secretly there, but hiding. So every time we win, it was Bomber, and every time we lost, it was Herd. There you go.
Well,
You're happy.
let's go back to that, because we'll reference the bit of the court case we didn't get to, was that, yeah, Herd basically denied all responsibility, including doing anything other than coaching on a Saturday. That was like the only thing he admitted to. He doesn't do anything during...
Yeah, he doesn't do tactics during the week. He doesn't do training. He's
he
just match day coach.
He just on match day he talks to them.
So he's basically
most senior
Kevin
Brett
Sheedy at
Ratton
GWS.
He's a Brett Ratton cheerleader. He
They're
just
talking-
motivates and
Ross
talks.
the boss was talking about how he was chewing strips off the midfield coach from the week because, their midfield wasn't performing, so he went and talked to his midfield coach and tore strips off him. He didn't go and fix it himself. He got his midfield coach to go and do it. That's what they do now.
Yeah,
That's
but he
just
probably
more-
would have done that during the week instead of during the fucking game. See, Herd
No, but the
wouldn't
thing
have
is,
done that.
Herd wouldn't do that because that's not during the game. That's not his responsibility.
Yeah, it would have been fucking, I don't know, David Evans' responsibility. Because
Each week it's how many shots of Melton 2 do I take before I...
Well, Tanya needs pleasing.
Give her a carrot.
Well, she's not boomers, missus.
Yeah, that's give her a cheesecake.
Well, if we're done with that, we'll move on to Norf, and they beat the Bulldogs in a reasonably uneventful game.
Yeah, basically the Dogs turned up for 1 quarter of the second, but I guess the biggest talking point out of this game has been the little boomer that could. He huffed and he puffed and he...
Threw Picken over his back.
Can we just get this out of the way? North Melbourne are a bunch of dirt bags and scumbags. They go the knuckle all the freaking time.
Wells is up on...
That's
Yeah,
Wells is up.
You can't call him dirty, racist.
No, Wells hit Higgins twice, I think, so he got a couple...
Unlike Boomer, though, he has a clean record.
As to the actual...
All he's responsible for 2 of the shittest rule changes in the game.
Oh,
Fucking
yeah. Lindsay Dirtbag Thomas, yeah. That's all right.
They
was the other one?
Sliding.
Oh, sliding, yeah. Fucking Lindsay Thomas.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lindsay was at his diving best on the weekend. So did Petrie. He did
Oh.
a massive flop as well. But
They are
I had to go-
seriously just cheats. Yeah, it's okay.
but actually to the actual event, I am amused by the outcry by the North Melbourne supporter base. So what we can take from this is, even though it looks the same as the Petrie Lake one, they're nothing alike. That's not the
Yeah,
same.
they're totally different because North
They're
Melbourne
totally different.
were the victims in both incidents. North
Correct.
Melbourne players were the victims.
See, because in both incidents, the other player was the aggressor. They started the contact.
Yeah, even though, Petrie went the eye gouge on Lake, let's just
That doesn't
ignore
matter.
that.
It doesn't matter. Lake tackled him first, therefore he started the contact.
What do you have to say about suggestions that Picken was staging?
Yeah,
Well,
These suggestions came straight from the horse's mouth.
Actually, do you know, actually, funnily enough, there is actually some footage floating around of Liam Picken accepting a bag of money from Gillan McLaughlin immediately before the game. So it is actually probably a deliberate ploy on his part to stop Boomer Harvey from getting to 400 games and simultaneously ensure that North Melbourne has a quick exit from the finals because the AFL hates North Melbourne.
And they do not want Boomer getting to 400 games.
No. So yeah, basically Gillan McLaughlin is actively trying to stop North Melbourne. Doing everything he can to bring them down. The umpires are in on it. They've even got, Liam Picken in on it. Ant, do you want to fill us in on your side from the Western Bulldogs?
I've heard that the Western Bulldogs supplied the video footage. See, the angle was from the second level of the ground, and the Bulldogs are upset over Barry Hall putting Thompson in a headlock a couple of years ago. So upset that they staged this whole event. The other interesting fact now is we're coming in from probably, would say, North's number 1 supporter. She seems to think that Boomer's not guilty, and Picken was staging, and also just in from her. This is her post. Picken is a stager, basically dived and jumped all over Boomer, and when he missed, he landed awkwardly.
Hi, I'm a North supporter. I'm a fucking spastic and I have a persecution complex that I hold for 10 years because I'm so fucking self-centered and everything revolves around me and I'm always the victim because I support North and North should just merge with Melbourne. Fuck them both off.
And on that note, Bender's here.
Yeah, that was an interesting entrance into the conversation.
We were just talking about, well, you just missed the LOL West Coast, but we're just talking about how the world is against North Melbourne and it's not fair.
Oh yeah, it is. It is. They've got when Brad is always calling the AFL to check in the rules with them, make sure that they're not going specifically against North Melbourne.
Yeah, well, basically we're talking about how, Picken's a dirty cheat for necking Boomer in the elbow.
Was he trying to give him a good old Adam's apple, was he, on his arm?
Yeah, and it's nothing like the Petrie Lake one because they're just 2 different incidents. It's nothing like it.
It is pretty painful copping an Adam's apple on the arm, though. On the point of your elbow, it's horrible.
I'm going to go with a plausible explanation here. I'm going to say that I think Boomer snapped, as he's prone to do, and I think it was because this happened in the third quarter, didn't it?
Yes.
believe so.
Definitely second half.
Yeah, and Boomer was getting sledged all day by Picken. Picken was rubbing into the fact that Boomer has not donated the car back, and I think he was getting stuck into him about that, and, truth hurts sometimes.
Yeah, he's kept a hold of the car and he hasn't even bloody removed the back seat so his wife can fit in yet.
The other thing is, of course, Picken may have smeared himself with animal fats and grease to confuse and arouse.
And that explains why he flipped him over his shoulder so quickly.
Move, doesn't it?
Went to go in and suddenly found that there was nothing there, and that angered the Boomer.
Unless they like it rough.
Yeah.
I don't rate Nick Natanui much. He's certainly no Segler, but he will have a special place in my heart for his services to football in that game against Norf last year. Epic troll of Brent Scott.
Just on Boomer as well, how many weeks do we think he's going to get? Because he's got carryover from his last suspension.
I
reckon he's going to get 4 plus.
3 to 4 weeks plus 40% loading, which means it will be like 5 weeks, something like that. 4 to 5.
Has it gone straight to the tribunal?
Yeah, they've sent it straight there.
Okay.
Have you seen the footage, Bender?
No, I've only read about it.
It was more forceful
Secret
than what
footage.
Blake did. Like, he's literally pressing his forearm on his throat.
Yeah, that's not nice at all.
He didn't do it for as long. That's the one mitigation.
That's because if he did it for as long as Lake did, he would have killed Picken. But
but it's, according to North supporters, it's just wrestling, and it's not fair.
According to
victimised.
Boomer's the victim here.
Just like Petrie was a victim, Boomer is a victim, and they're nothing alike, so shut up.
If that's everything on that, we'll go to, the game Paddles was at on the Saturday night.
Oh, yes. Oh, it was fucking brilliant, let's be honest here. First time at the MCG, actually, against the Scum, and before the game I was thinking,
Is this your first time, man?
At the MCG, yeah, it was actually.
What a game to go.
Yeah, wow. Before the game, I was absolutely nervous, thinking, oh shit, I really hope I don't pay money or all these flight accommodations to watch us lose to the Scum. And that was just brilliant, that whole game.
It sounded like you had to clean your pants there.
Well, let's just say I enjoyed Saturday night way too much.
Did you head to King Street afterwards, did you, man?
There was Spearmint Rhino.
Probably saw Swanee there.
Yeah, past Libber on the gutto. Yeah.
Probably saw Boomer there just trying to get away from his fucking fat slag of a missus.
What I love is how Eddie was going about our academy and how wrong it was, and just one of our academy products, John O'Freeman, just kicked 4 goals against the Scum at the MCG, and all these Scum supporters leaving at 3/4 time, and in the last quarter is just absolutely brilliant. Like, our supporters are just making all these noise, and the Scum supporters are absolutely quiet. Fucking brilliant.
So how loud can 10 people get?
Louder than the whole Scum supporters, apparently.
Yes.
You do have to admit, though, Paddle, sorry, and I do need to just briefly interrupt with this, because I just wanted to draw people's attention to the fact that, Collingwood have been decimated by injury. And,
Tony Armstrong played 8 quarters of football on Saturday. And he's pretty shit, too.
I've got a bit of a list here, and this is just have a listen to this. Dylan Orville, hamstring. This is their VFL. Tom Couch, hamstring. Tom Pikeman, hamstring. Matt Suckling, hamstring. Then the main list, Ben Reid, hamstring. Jonathan Marsh, hamstring. Nathan Freeman, hamstring. Jamie Elliott, hamstring. Sam Dwyer, hamstring. That's quite an amazing run of soft tissue injuries.
I don't recognise any of those names. Are these just some random no-name Geelong players?
No, these are all these are apparently listed Collingwood players.
So soft tissue injuries to lots of players.
Scott
I've never heard of this before.
When was the last time the club had soft tissue injuries like that, Haduken?
I seem to recall Essendon in 2012 had a pretty bad one.
Yeah, but that was because of the drugs. Nothing to do with soft tissue.
Well, no, absolutely. Of course not. Collingwood.
It was all the weapons' fault. Nothing to do with it.
Yeah, no. It was all
the weapons made too many dead
people who did stuff during the week, that was their fault.
Because he made them lift too hard.
Heard he was just a game day coach. Shut up.
Who runs Collingwood during the week? Is it Rocket Eade? Rocket Eade's fault.
Yeah, Rocket.
Well,
Rocket made them do too many deadlifts.
I just want to say, Collingwood, I understand what it's like to watch your season be whittled away by injury like that. And when the drug investigation starts next year, you'll have my deepest sympathy.
Hey, and I just realised as well, Rockcliff got over 40 possessions. How many centre clearances did he have, Pats?
Next on ground is definitely Stephen Martin. He's just...
So you're saying Rockcliffe had 40 possessions and was ineffectual?
No, I'm saying I'm just saying Stephen Martin was best on ground.
But how was Rockcliffe?
Dane Zorko?
43 possessions.
Actually, interestingly, do you know how many inside 50s he had? None. And I'm not making that up. Not one. Now, don't get me wrong. He's the best get and give in the game, without a doubt. You know, you'll get it, pass it on, receive it, pass it on again. He's brilliant at that. Now, apparently, that releases their good players.
So he's a chain in the link,
Brisbane
but
have
he's
other
not.
good players.
That was
Yeah. Well,
releases
Zorko,
Stephen Martin.
and Manly. So it's those three. And apparently, you know, it's just a coincidence that when they play badly, Brisbane lose by 105 points.
Indeed, Rockcliffe has no impact on the result either way. Anyway, before we move on, Paddles, any last words on Collingwood Brisbane?
Oh, I could go on about how satisfying that was. I reckon the highlight was definitely Freeman kicking 4 goals. Academy player Eddie Sooking about it. Brisbane Lions fan growing up. Knows what it's like to beat the scum at the MCG. Absolutely fucking brilliant.
There's a bit of Bruce McAvaney in that voice.
Reckon he needed to change the sheets the next morning at the hotel.
Yeah. Well, that's a good thing about hotels, isn't it? Someone else does it.
Speaking from experience, sometimes they don't, and that's a really awkward moment. But let's just move past that.
Don't pretend you didn't love it.
We're getting into awfully gooey territory here, and
yeah, literally.
That's when I do my best work.
But yeah, real quick, Port booked their spot with a win over the Suns in the wet. Not much out of that game. They got there just. They were behind.
Horrible game. Just
70 inside 50s
down with rain.
But they weren't far off losing it.
So Gold Coast have, even though they've kind of dropped off a bit, they've been in games a lot the last couple of weeks.
Despite dropping away.
They're slowly learning, but
next year,
still
and
no
not
Ablett, no Gold Coast. Yeah.
Anything else on that game?
It was shit. Both teams are shit. Port won't win a final. Gold Coast won't make finals. Nothing more to say.
And we'll move on to, well, if those teams are shit, I don't know what that makes Melbourne, because...
So how good was this game, Pads? You were there?
Oh, that game was boring. Honestly, the crowd was more exciting because all the Melbourne supporters are just melting everywhere.
Did you see Biff and Ada at the game?
I didn't even know what he looked like.
Because apparently Biff had a crack at
apparently the older, angry dude, yelling at Watts.
Oh, Melbourne supporters, they were just having a crack at everyone, especially the supporter.
Biff might have to go home and microwave his own membership after that game. But yeah, they were hopeless. GWS had as many injuries as Collingwood in that game.
It was actually identical. It was an identical scenario almost that, they lost. They had one fit player on the bench for the entire second half.
Collingwood lost by 10 goals with that. GWS won by 10 goals with that. It's just...
What is wrong at Melbourne? Melbourne, seriously. Melbourne folks, what the fuck is wrong with your club?
And you hear that they have absolutely no shame, and that today they've formally requested for a priority pick. So that basically means they potentially have 2, 3, and 4.
Yeah, if Frawley leaves, which is probably for the better because he's one of the players who's experienced a losing culture, probably can't bring the level that they need.
Yeah, because that's really worked for them before, hasn't it? Getting all these priority picks and extra picks
for
Scully.
This time Ruse is there to hopefully nurse them through it.
No, it will be another promising youngster whose career will be ruined.
It's just you had a 1 in 5 chance of getting picked by Melbourne in the first round. Now it's the first top 5 going, oh fuck, we're all going to Melbourne. Our career's over.
But on that, we will bring back the Flogcast fix for the first time, probably I think this season. And how do we fix Melbourne? Priority pick's an option. What else have we got?
Well, you guys know my thoughts on this. There's only one way to fix the fucking rabble that is Melbourne. That's fold them or merge them with Norf.
Any others?
Melbourne Hawks.
Melbourne Hawks, yeah.
No.
No. Well, I mean that's
one way to fix them.
That would fix the talent
Why
deficiency if they merged
would you go
with
North
Hawthorn.
Melbourne? We've already got a jumper and a theme song picked out for Melbourne Hawks.
And they have the good list, whereas North still have that list of the meat grinder midfield.
So basically, you
Boomer
can
Harvey
get
being selfish. That doesn't build culture well.
You can drop
nothing Melbourne about Melbourne Hawks though.
Sorry,
it's perfect though. They get to drop the Demons Monkia. You get to drop the piss and poo. Melbourne.
It's a win for everyone.
Keep their team, and you get rid of your crap colours.
Yeah, and your really shitty "We're a Happy Team" at Hawthorn song.
Then
Come
you
on,
have to play all your games in Tassie.
I enjoy our colours. I enjoy the fact that we play games in Tasmania for a massive financial windfall.
Wouldn't you like to be a Melbourne-based team again?
There is not one player on the Melbourne list that would get into Hawthorn's best 22, let alone their best 18.
But you would have all these bump draft
You're
picks.
trying to recruit. You're trying to recruit Frawley already.
No. As I've said numerous times on this show, Hawthorn never go after the obvious targets like it happened with McAvoy last year. You watch, there'll be all this smoke and mirrors about Frawley. He'll end up at fucking West Coast, no, not West Coast, the other one, Fremantle or Sydney or something like that, and we'll end up with someone like Daniel Talia.
And then as a result of that, you'll have to offload some unknown kid who goes on to win Brownlows and premierships at somewhere else.
Who's a father and son as well.
Yeah, and then... Well, do you
there,
have...
there are no father-sons left at Hawthorn because they didn't breed.
Well, there won't be for a while, considering the 48% when you think
Yeah, I
about
was going to say they only get 52% of their players actually breed.
Will Langford is running around and doing very well for us.
Well, there you
Thank
go. So he's the one you're going to trade on to insert successful.
There is no chance of no chance of Will Langford leaving Hawthorn. He is.
No one else wants him.
Yeah, and I think Deer's got a chance of making it, the rookie list
He'd
as
make
well.
Selwood look ordinary earlier in the year. Not many taggers do that.
Really, anything else
Yeah,
on
you got
fixing
fucking
Melbourne?
nothing.
That's
Well,
because
we've already put
statement.
forward the
Who
most
cares?
logical explanation that merging Melbourne with Hawthorn will fix Melbourne's problems. That is the best way to fix Melbourne.
And
It will
Hawthorns. for that
It will
matter.
fix Melbourne's problems because there will be nothing Melbourne about the Melbourne Hawks. They will literally take 100% of Hawthorn because Melbourne
And
is
then
so
replace them with the word Melbourne.
But then, now
And-
you get
and
to
blue
be
and
a
red.
Victorian team
Hawthorn.
again.
It'd be
You get
Melbourne
to be a
Hawks.
Victorian team
There will
instead
be
of a
no
Lawrence
players
team.
from Melbourne. There will be no coaching staff from Melbourne because
But
none
in
of
10
them
years' time, no one
would.
will remember Hawthorn either.
What, you wouldn't take
It's a
Paul
win-win.
Roos?
Who would take Paul Roos? Who in their right mind would want Paul Roos to coach their club?
Well, Paul Roos isn't going to cause any damage to the ground or the facilities.
Yeah, Paul Roos is going to cause a lot of damage to the fucking supporters' minds, though, when they all die of boredom at the game because their side kicks 20 points in a game.
Hey,
No, they banned that in the 2008 grand final. They were kicking 20 points in
Hawthorn
a game.
need a next generation of supporters as well, with 48% of them not breeding. They need to
Yeah.
find the numbers somewhere.
They're concerning youth in their supporter base.
None of your fucking business what I'm going to go all tank girl on this bit. Sexual orientation.
Well, actually, no, they should be able to prop up their numbers because as far as I'm aware, cat and dog populations are still doing all right across.
There'll always be pets.
Yeah, exactly. You always have the pet memberships.
Anyway, let's move on to the talking points. We only got the two, but Essendon, well, the players might be getting banned, so they're looking at alternatives in the draft, and one of them happens to be, well, a player who knows all about being banned, Ahmed Saad.
We need a good small forward. He actually is pretty good. Perfect fit.
Whatever it takes, man.
He's not pretty good. He's like
Well,
very
He's
good at
pretty good by St
he
Kilda
did what
standards.
we've currently got, which is a guy called Corey Delalio, who's not. He can play a little bit, but he doesn't have it.
Saad will shake up the investigations, I have to say.
Chapman was going to play, 5 years and kick 80
Chapman's playing
yeah.
as a midfielder. He's not playing necessarily as a forward.
There
But
are
he
a lot of
just-
thoughts gone into this, guys, because the Essendon legal teams have thought of the double jeopardy rule here. So he can't get done twice for drug use. Get him in now, and they can pump him full as much as he wants. He's not going to get banned again.
If we perhaps get that X-Files music cranking again.
Oh, yeah.
Asad is an anagram of Asada. So perhaps this points to some sort of deal being worked out between Asada and the EFC, which will see reduced sentences. I'm not
So
sure.
With thinking like that, you could post on the Norf board.
That's actually a really good theory. I like it. Actually, they did announce, and I don't know if you guys have heard about this, that Cronulla have had 4-week bans mentioned as something that some of their players could get, rather than 6 months or 2 years or whatever.
It's 6 months with 5 months suspended.
Yeah,
Yes,
so
they
season,
didn't take
so-
Asada to court.
But also, there's someone actually going the Essendon defence. I just was reading earlier, one of their players has decided to go the Essendon defence of the evidence was gathered illegally. They're going, yeah, we're guilty, but it doesn't matter. We went off on technicalities.
No, I don't know anything about the Cronulla side of it, so I don't know how they actually went about getting their evidence. But
They
Yeah.
asked Danky. Danky said no, and then they looked in his.
and Little also came out today and said he's now seen all the evidence that Asada's got courtesy of that court trial, and he says they ain't got nothing. So
Yes, he has seen all the elephants because Tanya Hurd paid him a visit.
she took all the notes and she dropped them all off around his place, and he thinks they're really good, and their evidence is stuffed.
I like how he asked the government to intervene after, taking them to court because the
Well,
government has to intervene.
clearly we're wasting everyone's time at this point. If it's not a must go through them, I'm sure we can just wrap it up. Come
And
on.
I like how Little's also asked, if we get off because of the technicalities, Asada aren't allowed to investigate us again without the AFL, because then we can't argue the technicality.
I'm
It's just
quite
not fair.
enjoying I think the longer this circus goes on, the better, because it will just continue to expose everyone involved, Hurd, Little, and obviously the guy who has been Hurd's best friend all along, Vlad, who's looked after the EFC from day one. It will continue to expose their corruption and involvement in this case, so the longer it goes on, the better.
Anyway, if there's nothing else on Essendon and Sard, we'll move on to, well, this is pretty funny. After the people leaned over the fence and went apeshit at Eddie, he's invited the members to an exclusive post-season information night at the Westpac Centre.
Will they have a barbecue?
Just checking it now, but this member-only briefing will offer a thorough review of season 2014 and an outline of our plans in 2015. I see nothing about barbecues, no.
I was going to say, what's the Collingwood equivalent of a sausage barbecue? Is there something
Lobsters.
more lower end or something?
A
Sausage barbecue with the sausages from Aldi or some shit,
But no, Collingwood can afford it. It's just that it'll be lobsters, because they used to feed lobsters to prisoners. So,
What, guys? What is this barbecue really for? Is it really? Is it Eddie planning to get rid of Nathan? Is it Eddie getting ready to burn all of the HGH that's lying around the place?
He wouldn't get rid of his man crush.
The article covers that. This meeting is not about internet-style carping, but a coming together of the Collingwood clan to refocus in a time of rapid
What is
change in the
internet-style
AFL.
carping?
Big footy.
Yeah.
I was going to say getting on Knicks or whatever that fucking Collingwood board's
big
called.
footy where they're all melting down and blaming Fig.
Eddie, hello. I know you're listening. We know that you're seriously trying to figure out what to do now. Nathan's crap.
No, Eddie, don't listen to him. Please keep Nathan at the pub, because it will guarantee that Collingwood will not win a premiership for the foreseeable future.
This is actually very Kool-Aid-esque as well, because...
Hey,
Paddles,
Nathan,
anything
hey.
on Collingwood.
Okay,
I
T.
think they're just going to hand out free tea for supporters, and also butt cream just to their anus. And
We have deliberately set this meeting for as soon as our season finishes, because as soon as it does, the next campaign will begin. So bring your best ideas for the future, not your complaints about the past.
So
That's
September
So-
2.
I was going to say, so is it set for post round 20 whatever?
Yeah, turn up to chug some goo, basically, and don't complain about anything.
It'll be right after they get pumped by Hawthorn to the tune of goodness knows how much.
Voluntary brainwashing sessions at Collingwood.
Wait,
D9
yeah.
comes out and goes, it's okay. They even let you keep a piece of your brain in the jar, see?
And there's not much of that Collingwood. Before we move on, just the last talking point is this week's Hall of Fame entry. Who wants to discuss this one? I reckon Paddles can take this one. Paddles seems to be quite fond of this particular entry.
oh yes, I think we've all agreed that the next inductee into the Bay 13 Hall of Fame is the one, the only KFC boy.
Raise your drumsticks. Yay.
Central to probably the best thread ever on the Bay.
Are you going to eat that?
He's not even got anything to do with football. He just appeared on the screen a couple of times, lost his shit.
And also, the original posting of the chucking the drumsticks was Pico, so the little Limbo Club reference there. He was at the original Photoshop.
Yes, but it can't be a Bay 13 Hall of Fame without fried chicken. So, yeah, KFC boy.
Well done. And he's apparently not too bad at the old karaoke either.
I was going to say he's not too bad looking
He-
or something. I don't know where you're going there.
He was on the edge of glory, now he has it.
And you call us the fucking 48%. Fucking gay for KFC, boy. What's going on?
Let's move on to this week on the Bay. And Flog of the Week, I think we're pretty unanimous on this. Late runner, but he's just the most obvious candidate. And Haduken, do you want to say it? Because I think you feel the same way about him as the rest of us do.
Oh, well, it's a little reluctantly, because it's a fellow bomber, and I always feel bad about it, and his name's actually gone completely from my mind. Bomber Boy, is
Bomber
it?
Bro.
Bomber Bro 2.
Yep.
Or whatever. Yeah. Bomber Bro 2, stop it, please. Like, I know where you're coming from, man. I get it. I feel your pain. But
What,
just
you know where he's
stop it.
coming from with this religion stuff?
Is he your
Yes.
bro?
He's one of my Essendon brothers. We are in this together. We will
Do you
fight.
have faith
We
in
will
James
rise.
Hurd the way he
Not
does?
this shit again.
Believe, brothers. Believe.
Not this
James
shit again.
can save us. But Bomber Bro, please stop it.
He's just weird. He has to be an Elias, but if he's not, oh god. But yeah, no other nominations. Bombers 2003's made a late run.
I did want to give a mention and shout out to Footy is the Win for
Yes.
like finally actually hanging around after one of his shit "we're gonna win" threads, and then having a massive sook about it when he did.
And then requesting it get locked.
Yeah.
Do we have a Thread of the Week nomination? I can't think of any.
Let me have a look now.
This week was kind of revenge of the old threads week. Like everyone was bumping all the old stuff that was going around, like all those Melbourne threads from the last 12
Demon
years
pride.
where people saying, "Oh, this is it, we're going to win."
I got a
I'm gonna-
lot of
right now I'm
satisfaction
gonna go
bumping
with-
Anus Cat's thread about Richmond finishing bottom 4 this year. That was quite nice.
And what is it with Richmond supporters bumping Biff's Richmond kiosk? That's not a thread to bump and go, Melbourne. That's a thread of gold. As I responded to a couple of Richmond nuffies in there, surely troll Melbourne. Melbourne isn't easy to troll, but create your own thread.
Do we have a winner though? I think my favourite probably Westy Bogan's club favourite sons who've destroyed their club, but or Ugak finishing the Monopoly.
Well,
thread
he's
off
finally finished the Monopoly board to acknowledge that and give him another one. I did like actually the Boomers misconduct one, not because of anything that was specifically in the OP, but the fact that half the North posters in it were melting, and like 2 pages in, they still go, but what was he actually nominated for? But they're melting anyway. They have no idea what he's in before the tribunal for. That was a funny thing, but it's a bit of a lame week.
Come
Lift
on.
your game,
You've got
Bay. No, I'd say just go with the Elias's Bay 13 Monopoly.
Yep, and Hawthorn as well was since last week too. So.
Yeah.
Alright, we'll go, Ugax.
All right, and last week's poll, if Adelaide was playing at Etihad, who would St Kilda beat and would Fyfie go? 3% said Saints are going to get kicked in the fucking head. 12% said Fyfie will take the Tiggy train driven by Tiger Boys to the game. 12% said Melbourne would get smashed and Hawthorn would try and merge with them again.
I'll get fucked.
35% said Jack Watts is confused, and the winner with 38% said the umpires would get Geelong over the line. So, yeah.
The 11% were wrong, weren't they?
See, everyone
go.
knows the fix is in. Umpires always getting Geelong over the line. See, the majority of the Bay, they know what's going on.
Anyway, Paddles, you have to go.
Yeah. Goodbye.
So,
Cheers, Battles.
and, yeah, next week, Port versus Carlton on the Friday. Carlton are in form of sorts, even though they're not
But
winning.
Carlton is still shit, though.
Yeah. I expect Waite to kick a few goals and justify a contract.
I actually reckon Carlton will win that.
I think
don't
Port
know
will beat
why.
them, but I reckon Carlton will lose in excruciating circumstances
Well,
again.
the umpiring will be at its usual quality standard that it always is with the Carlton game. And it's in Adelaide. No, Port.
Yeah, the Porterous.
Port will get over the line at home. Carlton aren't that great.
I'm going to go Carlton.
North versus Adelaide is probably match of the round. Oh, actually, sorry, no, it's not. It's the second match of the round. I got it wrong again.
Well, I was totally going to tip North Melbourne, but now, a couple of big outs.
Little boomer that couldn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to tip the Crows. I just don't see them getting up now without their heart and soul, their team player, their one and only little boomer.
Who's going to get and give now? Yeah, no, Adelaide will win.
I'm tipping North because of the fact that the lack of Boomer and Wells is actually going to make them the underdog in this game, so they
Improve.
will get up.
I'm tipping North because of the fact that it's in Tassie and not at Etihad.
Yeah, I'm going with North too.
So that's what BA is.
Yeah, Blundstone Arena.
Their spiritual home.
Much like Hawthorn.
Wait, you're making fun. What about your spiritual home for Hawthorn? Oh, jeez.
Yes,
again,
unfortunately, we don't get to play games at Waverley anymore, but that will forever be our spiritual home.
No, your spiritual home is Hobart, isn't it?
Launceston.
It's the same place, really. Come on. It's a metre down the road or something.
Our spiritual home is also Anus Cat's spiritual home. Never forget that.
So, one thing Hawthorn got going for them, they're not going to get booted there permanently.
Well, no, Hawthorn won't even let them be booted there. They've got too much of an iron grip on.
Hawthorn are defending their turf rather aggressively.
It's their Tasmania, man.
It's our home, not yours.
It's our home away from home that we want money from, but don't really like.
Now, if the AFL do the right thing, which is relocate North to Tassie, then Hawthorn will happily stand aside for them. Because
What
let's face
if they
it,
relocate Melbourne there? What's going to happen then?
The
With
demographics-
Tasmanian Hawks.
Well, then Melbourne Hawks would still work, because they go to Tassie
the Demon
every
Hawk.
other time.
Essendon Gold Coast. Does anyone think the Suns have a chance? I
Yeah, Gold Coast by 150 points.
You're angry and you're lashing out now, Penal. I understand. It's okay.
Yeah, Essendon for mine.
Yeah, Essendon for me too.
GWS Collingwood. This one's a bit interesting all of a sudden. I reckon the Giants are a sneaky chance. Because Collingwood season's over.
Yeah, but the Giants just lost a whole bunch of players too. So I actually think Collingwood...
Their depth is probably better though, with all the young players.
Yeah, shit. Where's it played?
Up there at the Spotless Stadium.
Holy hell. That really could be a GWS win.
I'm tipping the Giants.
Yeah, alright. You've convinced me. I'll go Giants.
Yep, I'm picking GWS.
I need to know what Teacher's doing in his tipping comp, then we'll know which one to go with. Then change it at the last minute.
Yeah, I was going to say, it doesn't matter if you change it.
They're in much better form. The Giants will get it done easily.
I'm not bowing to peer pressure here. I'm going Collingwood.
West Coast Melbourne, this could be another massacre over at the Patterson Stadium.
Well, they don't want to lose by too much because then they might lose. St Kilda might lose their percentage advantage for the spoon. We can't have that.
Yeah, it's closed. It's closed. The gap's closed to 8.2.
Probably want the spoon. They're probably tanking. Let's face it, because they want 1, 2, and 3, not 2, 3, and 4.
So yeah, it's down to less than 8%. Yeah.
West Coast will win. I don't know. Depending on how well, like if it's a flogging and they get destroyed, then Melbourne are doomed. They are going to shut that club down. They are in a death spiral they can't get out of. If they show anything, any heart at all, anything to try and hold this lead in a little bit, then they'll be okay.
Well, for
one thing's for certain though, Josh Kennedy's going to kick a lot of goals.
Oh yeah,
because it's his kind of ground today when we play Melbourne.
He might just take back the Coleman lead.
He'll be doing his little twinkle toes move over and over again.
I know jokes aside with Penal, and because I don't mind Hawthorn. I hope Melbourne win just so we don't see the Melbourne Hawks, because I wouldn't want to do that to Penal.
Brisbane Fremantle.
I haven't fucking tipped. And I was going to deliver. I was about to deliver. West Coast. I hope West Coast win by 250 points. I want to see the all-time record be smashed. Bring this pathetic excuse for a football club to its knees. Make them beg and grovel to the AFL for more priority picks. So we
they already are, man. They might actually give them the priority pick.
They'll want to if they lose by a lot this week. That way we will laugh when they get rejected, because the AFL will reject them, and that way we can all laugh at Melbourne some more until they inevitably fold.
They'll take the second option and they'll merge.
No fucking merging going on.
I was just going to say, who would you have as the third tall then? Sean Makers or Watts?
Sean Makers, easily.
Watts has those intercept marks going.
Come on, Sean Makers hasn't been amazing, and I know you guys will be surprised to hear me say that, but I will concede our players are not infallible. Sean Makers is not infallible. He has his shortcomings, but come on, he's still better than fucking Jack Watts.
You could have a shitty mow-off with Lyndon Dunn and Suckling as well.
You could have Dawes, Hogan. I mean, that's quite a spine.
Anyway, Brisbane Freo at the Gabba.
Freo, sorry, Paddles.
I think Freo.
Yeah, unless they do Freo. Not taking half their team trick again, but I think they actually want to win at the moment.
No, Brisbane. Freo played their grand final last week.
Who were waiting on Ant or Bender, I think?
I said Freo.
Okay. Bulldogs Sydney at Etihad. I think the Swans will win this.
Yeah, Swans.
But Bontempelli to still push his rising star case and make it pretty hard to beat him. Yeah.
I was going to tip the Bulldogs, but since Ant decided to go and be a dick for the whole day, I'm going to go Sydney.
I'm sorry, Penal. It was pre-planned, and you bit so well. So
Richmond versus St Kilda.
I haven't tipped yet. You can't get fucked. We're gonna kick us in the fucking head. No. Yeah, Sydney gonna win.
Richmond St Kilda. We'll win this.
Oh, the Tiggy train's gonna roll on.
The Tiggy train rolls. Toot toot. Croatians everywhere will be happily and sweatily chatting to their sisters.
And And each week we've been asking Fyfie about the Tiggy train, and that I felt a little spark in his voice when he talked about it this week. He was still non-committal, but he's thinking about it. He's at the station. He's looking down the platform at the train thinking, yeah, maybe I've got my Mikey ticket ready. I've got my Jackery Waltz. I might get on the train.
I agree, Ant. His usual monotone "I'm dead inside" voice has just been showing a tiny hint of emotion when he talks about his Tigers now. Just a spark.
But by the same token, imagine what he'll be like next week if St Kilda get up.
He'll be back to Fyfie as normal. See, I told you it was shit.
Yeah.
Nah, I think if they lost to St Kilda after having been pretty good the last 7 weeks, that would just crush him and crush most supporters.
But if you realise if they lose to St Kilda, there's going to be a happy plugger.
And
a very happy Tiger.
And also, that also means Melbourne's last.
It's not going
where they belong.
We're going to kick their fucking heads in and win by 10 goals, which is the first time I've said it all year. We're going to have one of them 10-goal wins.
Richmond will win easily. It would be a disaster if they lose, but they won't lose.
I think the Ranger Rich Rewalt to kick lots of goals and the St Kilda Rewalt to keep the score somewhat respectable.
Is Fyfie going to
Richmond.
Yeah, the most important point about this is Fyfie going to the game.
Yep.
Is there any stipulations on this game?
No, you've already asked that.
What if Hampson plays?
He
What if
won't play.
Stevenson plays?
Neither will play.
The
What
lure
if
of
Greg
the lure of the
plays?
schoolgirls is too strong.
He's annoying, but I'll still go. Funnily
What
enough,
about
I
the-
just
what about
realised
the
we
time
forgot to
slot?
mention that St Kilda got outscored by Buddy. We didn't even mention that game, but it happened.
Are you going to complain about the time slot there, Fyfie?
No.
You're on the best time slot of the week.
Clearly,
care.
Buddy was doing it for Lenny Hayes, and bit of a tribute for him.
Further tribute to that. And the last game, Teacher's squibbed this week. He's gone missing because he's a bit scared that Hawthorn are fired up and Hawthorn are going to beat them and doom them to 4th place. So Hawthorn, Geelong, Penal, going to spread some goo.
I'm going to tip last because I am filling in the teach role this week of melting and tipping last and telling everyone to go get fucked.
I think the Hawthorn's going to feel a little bit for their kindred spirits at Patterson Stadium this Saturday and lose to Geelong.
Is Roughhead playing this weekend?
He is back.
Yes.
He's back.
Who am I kidding? Hawthorn will win.
I'm going to say it's a draw because that will be that bloody close. I don't know. I can't see other team blowing the other one away. There's going to be no G110 long going on here.
Yeah, Hawthorn for me too.
Hawthorn.
I'm a lot less confident about this game than I usually am. I think Hawthorn will win just, but I would not be surprised if we lost.
Well, look at Geelong's percentage. They're possibly the worst 3rd-place team ever.
They're currently the worst 2nd-place team ever. I mean, they're worse than Port 2007.
That's
a bit of plugger-esque talk, the best
I-
second-place team
I
ever,
would-
the best spoon team ever. The only thing that matters is number one.
I would argue that both Geelong and Fremantle appear to have timed their runs very well and hitting form at the right time, but I still think Hawthorn can match it.
Geelong's still got that concerning youth, though.
True. What will George Hall and Smith do when confronted with, anyone at Hawthorn, really?
With Brownlow medalist Jordan Lewis.
I look forward to seeing how Hawthorn tag the umpires.
Look, let's face it, we do need to stop the umpires to have any sort of chance in this game, or else Geelong are just going to, pinch the win in the last dying minutes again.
Who's playing on Hawkins?
I hope it's Clangers.
It will probably be Brian Lake, who did a pretty good job last 2 times he was out against Hawkins. So Lake has a pretty good record against Hawkins.
He normally does well on
John
fat
Ricketts.
blokes.
Well, it's fat on fat down there, isn't it?
Yeah.
Lake's not small. It'll be a good game.
He's no Brian Harris.
It will
It
be,
is
a,
the match
it
of
will be
the-
a good game. Regardless of who wins, there will be tension and drama and yep.
You don't
Same
sound
path,
so
of course.
enthusiastic, man.
I'm not confident. Not at all.
Seriously, that was no teach, get fucked, kick yous in the head type speech.
Well, I've burnt out all my fucking rage on you blokes for trolling for
We've
2 hours.
worn him
about
out.
merging
We've worn him
and-
out.
Yeah, I just want to go to bed, I don't even have any more goo to spread. There's no Hawks players who I can pump
It's
up.
dried
to
up.
Nor any
levels.
tears either.
It's dried up.
No goo, no tears.
No tears.
Anyway, this was the Flogcast for round 22 and the 50th episode. Fyfie joined by Ant.
Free boomer.
Haduken.
Yeah. Free Boomer's wife from the pens.
Free range pig.
Yeah, free range. Boomer's wife.
Free range rhino. What are you talking about?
Penal.
Hang on, guys. I think I found a bit of my mojo. Lake's going to fucking strangle that fat fuck Hawkins. And Hawthorn are going to smash Geelong because they're so much better. Best team in the comp. Best premiers of all time. Go Hawks.
And Bender.
Yeah, cheers, guys, for my bit part. Thank you.
Pat says goodbye.
And Paddles, may he rest in peace.